Hi, this demo is going to be on S3, the gasket. It'll be on page 82. So if you look at your page 82 here, I've got the PDF there. Let's open it up, and we're going to be doing the gasket S3 here. Let's see if I can't make this just a little bit bigger here. Yeah, it's beautiful. All right. So this one's going to start out very similar to the key plate. It's going to have a natural center point to it. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I would use a 0.5. You have a 0.5 and a 0.7 pencil on this. So let me just show you my thing there. So I've got a 0.7. My pink one's my 0.7 and my blue one's my 0.5. So all right. So I like starting off with the 0.5 there. Make some nice light lines. We're going to start by making a natural center point, very much like we did on the last one. Just nice straight there. Hold my paper down so it doesn't move around a little bit, and just kind of get that straight. So we're basically almost dividing the paper into quadrants. Okay, something like that. My camera tends to focus a little bit, so once the light kind of picks up there, it'll start to focus in. All right, so let's look at the part here and let's see what we got. Okay, I think what I want to do is I want to start by getting the center lines. This thing has 8 holes on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 and 7 and 8. They're all the same size. They're all 1/2 inch diameter. So we're going to get the center points kind of for the first 6 first. Okay, the 3 at the top and the 3 at the bottom. All right. They give you a 2.5 here and a 2.5 here, so we know they're equal distant. And we're going to do that first. All right. So let's go ahead and slide in here, and you're not measuring, you're just sort of eyeballing it there. So we're going to go ahead and do, I'm going to call that a 2.5. So whatever we do here on this side, we're going to want to do the same thing on the other side. So we're looking for a little consistency there. And you have to self-evaluate, and if it looks pretty good, then it looks pretty good. If it looks like it needs to go over a little further, then do that. I think mine needs to go over just a little further, so I'm just going to go ahead and just a little bit more there, and I'm just going to go ahead and blow that other line out there. I think that was just a little too close. Much happier with that. All right, so you just do the eyeball test on these. Most of the time, that's going to be good. All right, let's go back and look at the part. Now, going up and down, we have a 2 and a 4. Now, this was 2.5, so we're not going to go quite as much, but not that far off either. All right, from what we did going horizontally. So we're going to do a 2 and a 2 up and a 2 down. All right, so let's get in here. And so if this is 2.5, then 2 would be maybe somewhere like right around there somewhere. Try to make that straight. And then the same distance down, wherever that is there, we want to go the same distance. That's the most important thing. Now, if you're doing this right, you should see a pretty rectangular looking thing there, but not a big rectangle. So right now, I don't know, I think maybe my proportions off just a little bit. I'm just going to drop that down just a little bit here. I think I'm just a little bit off there. I think that looks a lot better. So again, you know the eyeball test, look at the numbers that they give you or the proportion they give you, and then just make sure it's going the same direction both ways. And I'm feeling pretty good about that. Okay, so let's do the first 6 holes. So we're going to do, again, this one and that 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 one. We've already got the center points. They're 1/2 inch in diameter, which means nothing to us, but we're just going to put the small circles in. And it's going to look something like this. Just real light. Do them light because you might decide later on you want to make them bigger or smaller. But you want to make them all the same size. Focusing the center point on the intersection of those vertical and horizontal lines we made. And then again, self-evaluate. If one looks too big or too small, then change them. Those are all pretty good right there, so I'm going to be happy with those. Okay, now if we go back to the part, the next thing I want to do is I want to get this 1/2 inch radius on the outside here. So what's happening here is these are 1/2 inch radii. So a radius is from the center to the outside. So if you doubled that, that would be a 1 inch diameter, which is twice as big as the holes. So that's a good thing for us. We're going to do these 4 right here. That one, and that one, and that one, and that one. So with a circle twice as big, almost like a donut. And make the donut here. Concentric circle. So you might have to kind of circle around a couple times until it feels like it's good. It's really important you make these the same size because we're going to end up connecting them. And if you don't make them the same size, you have to have a slanted line to connect them. It doesn't really look right. Same thing here. And same thing here. Again, don't be afraid to like erase if you don't like the way they look. What I'd like you to do now is let's just make sure they're coming along. Okay, let's connect those. Now, if it looks like you have to do a slanted line to connect them, like it's not parallel to the center line, then fix your circle. Okay, so something like that. And also I want you to do it down as well. So you have to kind of match them up both ways. Nice and light. Don't do anything dark yet. And that way, if you want to make a change, it's really easy. Again, if any of those lines are not parallel to the center line, then you need to fix it. Okay, so it should look something similar to that. Notice I haven't really erased anything yet. All right, let's go back to the part. Next, we're going to get this center line in here, and then this is going to basically be the same size arc. You can see the 1/2-inch radius, and of course the same size holes. Now what happens on this one is this circle right here, this outside circle, is tangent to this straight line coming down. Okay, so I'm giving you that part of it. So we're going to do this just a little differently because we recognize that relationship. And here's the way you're going to do it. So it's the same size as this outside one. So what we're going to do is we're going to, with this being the outside part, we're going to make the same size circle right there like that. And then we're going to find the center point, and then we're going to go ahead and put the circle in. So a little different there. Same thing on the other side. Make the circle, same size as the larger one, tangent to the straight line, and then put the smaller circle on the inside. Concentric, go ahead and plop a center line in there like that. So it should look something like that. They should be the same size as these larger circles. If it looks smaller, make it bigger. So like in my case, for example, it looks a little smaller, to be honest with you. This does not look as good. It looks a little smaller than that one. So what you want to do is say, yeah, you know what? Nah, not so much. So I'm going to come back in and just do that a little bit bigger, because it is. Maybe something about like that. That looks much, much better. And then put the center line back in, and we'll go ahead and get that smaller circle back in, same size as the other ones. On the other side here, yes, I'm not that happy with that. I think it's still a little small. So I'm going to go back in, just make that just a little bit bigger. So you do have to kind of self-evaluate on these. Sometimes you're not off by much, but if you can tell, it's off enough. And then go back and fix it. So that's why we're doing everything light. And then that looks significantly better. Those are all definitely the right size now. Okay, so here comes the sneaky part on this one. There's some arcs right here. See the arc right there, and that arc right there, and that one, and that one. They're a radius of 1/2, which is the exact same size as the radius of 1/2 on this one. So here's what's going to happen with it. You're going to get arcs, these quarter circles, and they're going to go something like this. They're going to be kind of wedging in like this. So what you want to do is you want to make a full circle. It's going to look like a snowman if you do it properly. And it's going to be the exact same size as this one. Do the same thing on the bottom. You'll see where I'm going here in a minute. I want you to make the entire circle. I don't want you to try to just kind of wedge them in like that. It doesn't look right. Like that. Just real light tangent. So it looks like like a snowman, basically. All right. So what's going to happen on this is it's going to go around, it's going to come down, it's going to go into the arc, and then it's going to come around and go into the arc and come around. So our geometry is there. It's looking pretty good. Okay, I'm pretty happy with what's going on right now. So I think what I want to do now, before I get the the middle part here, is I'm just going to start building this thing out. I'm going to go and erase the insides here, because I'm going to put some center marks in here, and I don't want those lines to be there to get in my way. I want that to be a clean area. So I did that. And on each area, I'm going to put in my little plus sign. Because as you know, the center lines, when they cross, I think we talked about this last time, is they're long, short, longs, and they're long, short, longs. So we really want that plus sign to look good there. All right. So the trick on these sketches is to put the plus sign in first. Now, if you have the skill to make those cross perfectly, have at it. I'm not even good at doing that, so that can be kind of tricky. So get it right in the middle. Try not to go back over the lines. Try not to go like this and make it more than once, because you end up getting these big fat lines. And these should be thinner. And then we're going to go ahead and make those center marks. So we'll make that there. And notice that I didn't run into my other one there. That's okay. So I'm going to just kind of knock these center lines in. I like darkening the center lines first. Run these guys together. And I like darkening the thing at the end. The main lines, the object lines. And so I'm just running on here out and out, because we're using it for these arcs on the outside. Out and out, and just past the circle, just past the circle. So it's just going outside the circles like that. We'll eventually connect those up. Okay, that's looking pretty good there. How about this? So on these ones, we're going to go all the way out because we're using it for the whole half circle. Same thing on this side. So something like that. We know these are going to join, so we're going to go ahead and connect those. And these guys are going to join. We're going to connect them, and so on. So we're showing that there's a relationship between those circles. Same thing going all the way across here. I don't need a plus sign here because there's really nothing there. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go ahead and join these guys together and join these guys together. So you have something that looks kind of like that. I'm going to go ahead and give me a one solid dark line on these. Again, I haven't done the middle part yet. Arc. I like doing the arcs first and then connecting the lines to them. You can do this however you want to darken them, as long as it works for you. I think it's easier to connect lines to arcs than the other way around. I'm going to bring this around. It's going to go into the curve, tangent to this top part here, and then into the curve, and then straight. This one's going to go straight across with a point. So this is tangent right there. So it's going to go up and into the curve. So we're using the geometry from our free circles to make what is really accurate geometry for the part. I'm going to bring that down. And again, it's easier to connect a straight line to the arc. Now, if you have a situation like this, let me just zoom in on this just a little bit. If you have something that looks like that right there, that's not good enough. It could be because your circle was too big, or you just hit it in the wrong spot. In this case, it just didn't work. I didn't hit it in the right spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and just erase this arc. This line had to come up in order to hit it, so I'm going to go ahead and just erase that. So my arc, I just didn't do a very good job of drawing my arc. I'm going to draw it again. And then we're going to connect those up so it's tangent. Like so. Okay. You will want to darken the circles. The smaller circles are pretty easy to darken. It's the larger ones that get a little tricky. Same thing with lettering. It's easier to letter smaller. Once you get the big stuff, it gets a little bit harder. I'm pushing down pretty hard with my 0.7. You'll break your lead every once in a while, but you want to get that nice one solid dark line. And then again, you can self-evaluate and make sure you've picked up all your center lines. Oops, that guy missed one there. There we go. This is actually darkened. It's just my camera's acting not nice right there. All right, let's look at the inside. So let's see. Agree that see this distance right here between the center line and the top. Agree that that's how far down it's going to get to this line right here. I think that's right. And then this right here, not very far. This is definitely more this way than this way. This almost looks like it just barely would miss the hole, but definitely less this way than that way. So I'm going to form this rectangle first. Let's do that first before we get the arcs on the corners. So, like I said, it's going to be whatever this distance is from here to here. That's how far down we want to come. So I'm going to grab up there, just a nice light line. Try to make that equal. That looks pretty good. Same thing here, come up that far. You can even make 2 dots if you wanted to and then connect them, whatever works for you. The quicker you make the strokes, the better it works for it. Now, we know that this side's bigger than this side. I think this one's maybe about right around there somewhere. Not as much, right? We know that just a little bit more. Right around, maybe like right around there somewhere, I think is what was happening, right? Pretty close to where the hole was, but maybe a little bit missing it. Okay, so what we have is we have this, this rectangle on the inside. So what's going to happen on the rectangle on the inside is you're going to have these 1/4 radius. Now 1/4 in radius is 1/2 in diameter. Kind of like a quarter is halfway across, then 50 cents would be all the way across, which happens to be the same size as our 8 holes. So these fillets is what they call these. They kind of are edges that are rounded over. Is the same size as the hole. So let's go back to the part. So when you make these, here's what I want you to do. Be in tangent, tangent. Be in the same size as the hole. I want you to make that tangent, tangent, and make the circle. It should be the same size as that. If it's too small, it's not good. So we want to do that and work it around and just kind of float it in that corner like a ball in the corner. Tangent, tangent, tangent. Same size as the holes. All right, and then you just take your 0.7 pencil. Again, I like doing the arcs first, so I'm going to do that. Arc, arc, following the geometry that I put in there, and then join them. I think I mentioned when I talked to you guys, I like the pencils with metal tips on them. Can you see the metal tip on that? Keeps the leads from breaking. If you have a pencil like this, like my 0.5, where it just has the plastic tips and the lead just sticks out, you get a lot more broken leads, just FYI. And the higher quality pencils tend to have better tolerances so you don't break your lead as often. But you'll need to invest in lead for sure. So one solid dark line, go over your good lines, and so something like that. So that is the gasket, S3. So you would want to come down here on the bottom and throw an S3 in there. So it's name, period, the date, revision A. So if you make a mistake on the sketch, and it's something you can fix pretty easily, you can just go back and fix the sketch, put revision B on there, and then turn it in again for a higher score. If you have a proportion issue, though, you're probably going to have to resketch it. So take your time when you're laying out the lines and kind of get them right, and then you'll have to go back to resketching later on. Like I said, this bottom part is dark. It's just my, see how there's a light coming down there. It's kind of making that thing look a little bit lighter there. All right, so there is the gasket S3.